Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today I am playing with the chipboard feathers that came in the Sunshine kit and the paint set from the Dream Big Mixed Media kit from a couple of months back. And I'm going to actually surprise myself with how well this paint set works with the Sunshine kit. So first I'm going to play around with these feathers because I saw Dorothy, who is on our design team. She played with them with the same paint set, and wow, I was blown away at how beautiful they looked. Now, she did a half and half pink and yellow one, so I'm starting by doing a pink and yellow one. I did a blue one first, and then I did one that's half pink and half yellow, did another pink one, and now I'm also going to just kind of play around, make this one be green, and then the little tiny one I made just be yellow with a little bit of white towards the bottom. I'm really loving how these look. I have 2 glasses of water. Having 2 on hand helps you to get your brush really, really clean so that when you change colors, you're not mixing your colors necessarily. I'm just playing here. I have no plan. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't even know if I'm going to use these feathers on my next layout, but I just thought I would play around and see what kind of looks I can get. I really love that half and half feather, but I'm also playing around with adding a couple of different coats of paint to these other solid feathers. And look at how pretty the water gets with this beautiful metallic paint. It's just so pretty, and look at how vivid I can get this blue with a second coat. I am waiting for the paint to dry in between coats so that I can get it nice and dark. I'm liking that quite a lot. Now I'm putting a second coat of pink there and just making sure to clean my brush in between changes of colors so I don't end up with orange instead of yellow and pink. So now I am going to let these dry, and while they dry, I am going to work with these 2 photos. I've already glued them together. They're slightly different. It looks like the exact same photo. And I noticed, I just happened to pull out my papers, and this Pink Fresh Studio paper was on the top. And look at how perfectly these colors match with the paint colors, which I just made the feathers. So I thought, let's work with that. I'm having a look at all of the papers with the Sunshine kit, the papers that I have left, and I also have these. And I was trying to decide, am I going to use this Pink Fresh Studio paper here, this one that looks like a quilt, I guess. Am I going to use that as a background, or am I going to use it as a layer and then have a white background? Because the more I think about how beautiful those feathers look with that metallic paint that works so well with the Pink Fresh Studio, the more I'm thinking maybe I should do a mixed media background that further uses those metallic paints and pulls it in with these colors. So what I've decided to do is a half and half page. It's not exactly half, it's 5 inches and of this paper. And then I'm going to take this stripy paper and have it peeking out below. So I'm going to take a thinner strip of this, and I'm going to have this paper peeking out below. I'll do some tearing and kind of rolling back some of those papers. I think that that's going to work pretty well. So what I'm thinking at this point is that I will take those metallic paints and I will have some paint looking like it's dripping down from underneath of the patterned paper, and it's going to include all of the different colors in that stripy paper from Pink Fresh Studio. So I'm going to start this whole thing by adding a bit of gesso to my cardstock, because this is not special mixed media cardstock. It's not very heavy at all. It's just Avalanche Basil by Basil, which came in the main kit, and it's great for scrapbooking, but it's not going to hold up to a watercolor effect. It might hold up to acrylic paint that's not quite so watery, but it's always safe to put a very thin layer of gesso over your white cardstock before you do anything that includes too much water. And these paints do include a lot of water, and I'm going to be wanting it to be drippy. So that means putting even more water than what I did for the feathers. Now, my mixed media paint set here, it's a Prima metallic semi-watercolor paint set. It came in the Dream Big kit, which we actually still have a couple of those available. So if you missed that kit, you can head on over to our website and get one right now. What I'm doing here is first I want to just mention that when I first got this paint set, I dropped it on the floor and the lid broke off of it. And I actually really like it with the lid broken because it means that I can use the lid as a palette and move it around freely. It's not attached to the paints anymore. So I kind of like it that way. But that I just wanted to explain that if you get this paint set, it doesn't, the lid comes on it attached. Now, as you can see, what I've done is I've glued a very thin strip of that Pink Fresh Studio paper at the very top. My plan is to not leave it there, but I've just got it there to guide me so that I know what shades I need to use. And here I am just making my own blue shade here because there was a lighter color blue than what comes in the paint set. And so I just took some of the blue that I had already used and added some of the white to it. And it made this beautiful pearlized light blue. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And I'm being a little bit timid right now because I'm not sure, you know, how this is going to look as I mix these colors together. And oh, I love it. I'm really loving it. So I'm going to make this lighter blue be a little bit more wide. So I'm just going to put some more paint there. And I have a little pencil mark on my paper that indicates the place where the paper is going to end. So I want some of the color and then also some dripping to extend out from underneath of the paper. So the stuff that I do at the top will be completely covered by that pattern paper. As you can see, there I go. Keep on just kind of checking to see how it looks. I really love how this is turning out. Now I'm going to skip that lighter color pink and put the darker pink in there first because then I can lighten the pink afterwards. And after I'm finished getting a drippy swatch of each of the colors onto the page, I'm then taking the brush as it's loaded up with a lot of liquid paint and I'm just splashing it. I'm just tapping my brush to get it to splash on there. Now I'm making a whole new color here by adding some white and some of the pink that I already made before. And that makes this beautiful pink that's very similar to the pink in the Pink Fresh Studio paper up above. And just to make it be a little bit darker down where you're going to see it, I'm just depositing little bits of paint towards the bottom of the drippy part, getting my brush really loaded, and then I'm just touching it to the bottom part of the paint so that it will accumulate there. And as it does, it just pools up and adds a little bit of a darker look towards the bottom. Now I'm taking that pink that I already used and I'm adding just a tiny touch of this brownie gold. There are several different shades of gold and in this paint set. And the real brownie one is the one that I'm using. And it's making this gorgeous coral color that I needed for the top. And now I need a third shade of pink, this very, very light pink. It's just a little bit warmer than the other light pink. And so I just did my best to mix that. It's basically a combination of the color right beside it with a little bit of white mixed in to darken it a little, or to lighten it a little bit. So this is my mixed media background that I will be using. And now I have pre-cut this 5-inch piece of the other Pink Fresh Studio paper. I don't love that there's a little edge of white showing down there, but once I distress it, you won't be seeing that anymore. And as my plan was, I'm going to distress it. I'm just using my tonic distress tool here, and I'm going up further with it in certain parts so that this is not a perfectly straight line. I want it to kind of have a bit of waviness to it. And I'm also going to distress, but do it less on this colorful piece that has all of the papers that, or all of the colors that end up showing up on the mixed media background. There was a little drop of water on the paper there, so it was smearing a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to be covered by this other piece anyway. So here is my top layer. And I actually flirted with the idea of leaving that little strip up there, the strip I had adhered just to guide me with my mixed media, but I'm going to take it off. I didn't love how it looked. And all of my all of my tape runners are running out of tape at exactly the same time as happens. So I just needed to get a refill. We do carry those in the shop too if you ever need a refill of those. We carry both refills for the ATGs as well as for the regular little Zig. It's not Zig, it's a Tombow mono tape runner. So as you can see, I'm just taking my heat gun to this just to smooth it out and dry it out. And it flattens as it dries. It doesn't flatten perfectly, but it flattens quite a lot as it dries. And then I'm just going to line up the top two corners and then set that piece of paper down, and it lines up perfectly. Oh my goodness, I really love how that looks. And now I'm just tidying up a little bit and I will be able to start embellishing. I first thought about tucking my photo here or layering it there, but then what I've decided to do is to put it here because I don't love that color of the light blue that's between the green and the yellow. It's just not my favorite. It didn't turn out exactly the same color as the Pink Fresh Studio paper there. So I've decided that my photo will sit right there and cover a good part of that blue. Now I don't want it to cover all of the yellow because I love that yellow. It really fits with the yellow in the pattern paper. And I have decided that even though I've already put some foam dots on the back of those photos, I'm going to back the photo. I'm going to mat it with, so I'm going to have to take, they're not dots, I'm going to have to take the foam tape, that Scotch foam tape. I'm going to have to take that off so that I can now mat these photos on. This is some of the blue paper that came in the cardstock kit for the Sunshine kit. It's called Arctic, and it's just a beautiful, it's almost navy blue. It's just a very dark, lovely, lovely shade of blue. And I thought that it picked up nicely on the colors that are in the Pink Fresh Studio collection. And it's also going to work really well with the letter stickers that I plan to use on this layout. So those are over there to the left-hand side of my page. So I think that looks really amazing. I'm going to glue this down and I'm going to regret it, but you know, that's the way it goes. I'm going to cover that up a little bit. It just looks a little muddy, that particular shade of blue. It has a little bit too much brown looking in it. So that's why I'm covering that one. You can still see the little bits of the blue dripping down though. I really like that. And now I'm going to call this layout Doting over Karma. And that's because we dote over her. She is our youngest little kitty, and we just, every time that we see her, we must stop what we're doing and appreciate and look at her and give her all the attention in the world. So, Doting over and then Karma, and I'm going to make each of them a different color. These letter stickers are great for that. So Doting is in the darker bluey, it's kind of a purple color. And then over is pink, and then Karma is this beautiful green color. All of these colors are in that Pink Fresh Studio paper that's up there. And I didn't have my heart set on using these feathers on this layout. But the more I think about it, the more I think, you know, I painted these with the same paints. I should probably use them here. If not here, where, right? So I've decided to just stick it in there. I did trim it down a little bit, and I do want to use both of them. Now, with this pink one, I actually took a marker and drew in some, like the stem of the feather. It's probably not called a stem, but that's what I think of it as, and a couple of little veins as well. And so that feather has a little bit more detail to it than the blue one. And I really like how that looks. I had to remove some of the foam tape in order to be able to fit those two feathers in behind the photos, but I really like how it looks. I'm going to use some liquid glue here to glue it down. And we'll start with the blue one, and then we'll tuck the pink one on it. I could have put foam tape under the edge of the pink one to hold it up, but what I've decided to do is make it lay on a bit of a 45-degree angle so that over on the left, the pink feather is glued to the pattern paper on the background, and then on the right edge, that pink feather is glued to the blue feather behind it, so it's sitting on an angle. I'm going to tuck some more of that foam tape that I pulled out to make room for the feather, tuck it back in just to hold the photo in place, and I also added just a little bit of liquid glue to hold the photo down. It was starting to curl up a little bit. Now comes embellishing, and I found this little today sticker. It's black, it's chipboard, and it works really well on the black and white photo. I put the happy day on the yellow, and that's when I had the idea that maybe I'll embellish this according to the colors behind it in the mixed media background. So we put the happy day, which is yellow, above the yellow mixed media, and the picture perfect above or below the green and blue mixed media, because it's a bit of a bluey greeny color, so it works well right there. Then I noticed that these chipboard pieces had all these little hearts that were the right colors. So we have a light pink, a dark pink, a yellow, a light blue, and a dark blue. So I just floated those amongst all of the splatters towards the bottom of the mixed media piece. And I just needed to tape in some of the pieces there that were starting to pop out, because I had taken out a piece to trial it and decided not to use it. So I'm using my liquid glue. This is Art Glitter Dries Clear Designer Adhesive with the metallic tip. We sell that in the shop as well. And then this is some of the MTK confetti mix that comes with the Sunshine kit. And I'm just going to do a little tone on tone sprinkle of confetti pieces here. We have pink confetti in here, and it looks different on the different shades of pink on the mixed media, even though it's all the same color of confetti pieces. Those blue were too dark blue, but I have this other lighter blue. It's a crimped sequin piece, and so that looks pretty good there. I'm just sprinkling these out and spreading them out so that it looks like they've been splattered, I guess, on top. It adds a little bit of texture as well because those confetti pieces are shiny and lovely. So I'm just going to use my little pickup stick, which is something that is from We Are Memory Keepers. We do sell that in the shop as well, and it is a real game changer when it comes to placing sequins. And so since we do include a confetti mix in each of our kits, we thought that it would be good for us to carry that as well. So you can always find that in our shop as well if you don't have one already. I'm going to put away those sequins, and then it feels like this page might be done. But then at the last minute, I thought maybe I should add a doily. So the Sunshine kit came with 3 of these gold doilies, and I really, really love them. And these gold doilies look especially great with the gold color of yellow that comes in these Pink Fresh Studio papers. And I just want to shove this in behind, but of course there's already foam tape under those photos. So as you can see, I just kind of trimmed it down the best that I could, and I'm actually going to fold it up a little bit. I put a little slit in it so that I could fold it so that it disappears under the photo, looking like it is a circle. And because of that, it's kind of peeling up off the page, and I thought I'd just go with that and wrinkle it up a little bit. Now we also have these gold enamel dots that came in the Sunshine embellishment kit as well. And I'm going to experiment with randomly placing those around on the page. The problem with that is that it takes away from the fact that I already have those confetti pieces in amongst the mixed media paint bits. And so you see, I'm going to change my mind a couple of times here, and I'll just leave this in. I won't edit it out so that you can see what I was thinking here. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. I also thought about putting a little something in this space here for the title, but I ended up deciding to just leave it. I always fill in those spaces in my titles, and I thought I'd just do something a little bit different. So now I'm playing around with the idea of putting little pairs of the gold enamel dots in these 5 different places, basically. There's another one right there. So, and that kind of like those 5 places are guide your eye all the way around the page. And it doesn't look bad. Also, they're all kind of like pointing at the photos. And so I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it. So I thought, well, let's just move this up here and see if that makes a difference. No, I still don't love it. But what I'm going to what I'm going to end up doing, I am going to like. So those dots will stay on the page. But what I've decided to do is I will put them on other embellishments. So I put one on that little Happy Day yellow banner flag thing. I'm going to put 2 on this pink feather, 1 on the today. And now they're in 3 different places and they're really tightly um, enclosing and creating a visual triangle that goes right through. If you were to draw lines between them, that visual triangle would frame in my photos quite nicely. So I really like how that looks, and it doesn't take away from all of the sprinkled confetti that's in amongst the mixed media paint. So I'm really loving how this turned out. I just wanted, because I was live streaming with my patrons, I just wanted to pull over the layout I had done right before, just to kind of summarize what we had done in the morning. Added a roller date stamp that says June 1st, 2024. And now I'll show you the close-ups, the close-up video part. I'm really impressed with how beautifully this mixed media paint set from Prima coordinates so beautifully with the Pink Fresh Studio paper there. So nice. I was just demonstrating there that visual triangle between the gold enamel dots. And yeah, I just love this page. It was so fun to make. And here we are at the 21-minute mark of the process video. And I didn't edit anything out. So this one came together very, very quickly in about less than 2 hours, well under 2 hours. And for me, that's pretty quick. So before I share the photos, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early, ad-free access to all of my process videos, as well as real-time, unedited versions of my videos, usually in the form of live streams. And lately I've been live streaming once a week, but technically we do it at least monthly. And patrons also get behind-the-scenes videos and other video goodies. Thanks to you also for watching all the way to the end. I hope that you like this. There's the paint set in case you missed it. Here are some of the places where you can reach me on social media. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. And until next time, have a really great scrappy week.